Hello viewers, I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. India is bolstering its global standing through strategic partnerships, trade agreements and high-level diplomacy. With the expansion of consulate worldwide, it aims to strengthen diplomatic ties, enhance trade, support its diaspora and deepen strategic collaborations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visit to Mauritius reinforced historical bonds while advancing trade, infrastructure and defence cooperation, further solidifying India's global influence and international partnerships.
Mauritius, a strategic Indian Ocean nation, holds immense significance for India due to historical ties, cultural bonds and its key maritime location. It plays a vital role in trade, security and regional cooperation, with India investing in its infrastructure, defence and Indo-Pacific strategy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit as the chief guest at Mauritius National Day underscores the deep-rooted ties between the two nations and India's commitment to strengthening bilateral relations. During the visit, he met President Dharambir Gokul, Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramagulam and other senior leaders. A key aspect of the visit was India's support for Mauritius' sovereignty over the Chagos archipelago, which has been a joint British-US military base since the 1970s. This stance aligns with India's broader Indian Ocean strategy to counter China's influence. Mauritius, an offshore financial hub linking Africa and Asia, considers India a major trading partner. Bilateral trade surged by 132% over 17 years, reaching $554.19 million in 2022-23. The India-Mauritius partnership is integral to India's Sagar vision and its broader engagement with the Global South.
India is a proud partner in capacity building in Mauritius. Friends, Mauritius, with large ocean territories, needs to secure its resources from illegal fishing, piracy and crimes. As a trusted and reliable friend, India works with Mauritius to protect your national interests and secure the Indian Ocean region.
India has been actively engaged in various development projects in Mauritius, providing nearly $1.1 billion in development assistance over the last decade. These projects include the Metro Express, small-scale people-oriented projects, and grant assistance. Mauritius is home to a significant population of Indian origin, accounting for nearly 70% of the island's 1.2 million residents. This demographic connection has fostered a unique bond between the two countries.
We have our Indian Ocean Region Association Secretariat, which is an Indian initiative, is located in Mauritius. They are part of the Indian Ocean Conference strategies, and today, when Prime Minister Modi is there, several agreements have been signed to further strengthen the maritime cooperation. So it is a very close strategic partner.
India's investment in Mauritius port infrastructure and military training strengthens security ties, supports its Indo-Pacific vision, and enhances strategic connectivity, securing vital trade routes in the Indian Ocean. India maintains a vast and dynamic diplomatic network, including embassies in key capitals, high commissions in Commonwealth nations, and consulates in major cities worldwide. It also has permanent missions to global organizations such as the UN, WTO, UNESCO, ASEAN, and the Commonwealth. Further expanding its global presence, India has recently opened new consulates in Russia, the US, the UK, and Australia. These strategic initiatives enhance bilateral relations and provide better services to Indian citizens abroad, reflecting India's commitment to global engagement and diplomatic outreach.
Focus number one is to obviously serve the Indian community, which is about 10,000 and growing. Focus number two is to explore the economic opportunities here. And we see those opportunities increasing because our ties with the UK are deepening. And this is also a meeting point in a way for the UK with the European Union. Focus number three is actually education and technology.
India's expanding diplomatic network reflects its commitment to global engagement, economic growth, and community service. By strengthening bilateral ties and opening new consulates, India enhances international cooperation, supports its diaspora, and advances strategic interests in trade, education, and technology worldwide.
Bangladesh has been going through significant turmoil since the ousting of Sheikh Hasina, with political instability, economic uncertainty, and governance challenges creating a crisis situation. The removal of a long-standing leader like Hasina has left a power vacuum leading to internal conflicts, administrative paralysis, and economic downturn. We have a report.
Hundreds of protesters from the banned Islamist outfit Hizb ut-Tahrir chanted slogans demanding an Islamic caliphate in Bangladesh. Despite being banned since 2009 for national security threats, the group continues to organize protests under Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus's regime, defying the ban on public gatherings. With political instability, law enforcement has become ineffective in Bangladesh as crime rates have surged and incidents of looting, vandalism, extortion, and attack on minorities have surged. The lack of a clear governmental structure has emboldened criminal activities. Bangladesh's Jatiya Party, a former Awami League ally, has urged free and fair elections, with leader Masroor Molla warning that investment will remain stagnant until polls are announced.
What we see for the last 6-7 months, this interim government is running the country. So far, we haven't seen any development except what we see every day, the crime rate is rising. Economy is completely deteriorated because no new investors are coming at the moment in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh's economy, which saw rapid growth under Hasina's administration, now faces severe challenges. Investor confidence has dropped, the stock market is unstable, and inflation is rising. The textile and garment industry, a key economic pillar, is struggling due to trade policy uncertainty. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's diplomatic standing has weakened as global powers reassess their ties. Uncertain relations with India and Western nations are affecting trade agreements and foreign aid. Public frustration over instability is mounting, with frequent protests and strikes disrupting daily life and economic activities. Taslima Nasreen, ousted Bangladeshi writer and activist, strongly criticized the interim government in Bangladesh and said the country is now occupied by the extremist Jamaat-e-Islami group.
I think that the country is now occupied by the Jamaat-e-Islami, jihadi and militant groups, and they have been destroying the history of Bangladesh. They destroyed the sculptures of all freedom fighters, and they destroyed the museums of the Liberation War in 1971, and also they destroyed the house of the father of the nation, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and also whoever was involved in the Awami League party. They were either killed or they're imprisoned.
Under Muhammad Yunus's interim government, Bangladesh has seen a surge in violence against minorities. India has voiced concern over the deteriorating law and order, with India stressing that Bangladesh's interim government must ensure the safety of minorities and their properties. New Delhi claims that over 2,374 incidents of attack on minorities were reported between August 5, 2024 and February 16, 2025, but the police verified only 1,254 of them. Moreover, 98% of these incidents were deemed political in nature.
We expect Bangladesh to thoroughly investigate and bring all perpetrators of killings, arson, and violence to justice without making such distinctions.
In August 2024, a student-led uprising ousted PM Sheikh Hasina after weeks of unrest, with the UN report estimating 1,400 deaths. Bangladesh now faces deepening instability, economic decline, and rising violence, risking further deterioration without urgent reforms and credible elections.
Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
On March 12, rescued hostages arrived safely in Quetta, Pakistan, under heavy security after separatist militants attacked a train the day before. The attackers blew up a railway track and fired at the train. Pakistani forces rescued 155 passengers, but some people were still held hostage. Families gathered at Quetta railway station, worried about their loved ones. The Baloch Liberation Army said they were responsible for the attack. They demanded the release of Baloch political prisoners and activists. They also warned that they would kill the hostages if the demands were not met within 48 hours. The BLA said it was holding 214 people, while 425 were on the train when attacked. Security forces reported killing 27 militants, but the total number of attackers wasn't known. After the US blocked Iraq from paying Iran for electricity, Iraq is looking at Qatar and Oman as backup options if gas imports are also affected. The US ended a waiver that allowed Iraq to pay Iran for electricity since 2018. However, Iraq's bigger trade with Iran is in gas, receiving up to 50 million cubic meters daily under a 5-year deal. Losing the supply would cut Iraq's electricity output by a third. To prepare Iraq's plan to lease a floating LNG terminal from UAE-based Breeze Investment. The terminal, expected to start by mid-year, will be at Khor Al Zubair port and supply gas via pipeline to Basra. It could provide 14 million cubic meters daily, about a third of Iran's supply. On March 8th, villagers in Bulgaria celebrated St. Theodore's Day, also called Horse Easter, by decorating their horses and enjoying folk music and religious chants. Yanko Mihailov, a farmer from Krupnik, joined the event with his 2 daughters and their horse, all dressed in traditional outfits. He said that honoring horses is an old tradition, even though they are not used for farming as much as today. Krupnik's mayor, Alexander Revanashki, explained that horses have been important in Bulgarian culture since the time of Bulgars, a nomadic people who lived on horseback. During this festival, people organize horse races and strength competitions, where horses pull heavy loads, keeping the tradition alive.
As Ramadan unfolds, the spirit of festivity in Pakistan is being overshadowed by soaring prices of essential goods. From food items to clothing, the cost of living has surged, making it increasingly difficult for ordinary citizens to celebrate the holy month as they traditionally do. Markets are filled with frustration as families cut back on traditional iftar meals and Ramadan shopping. Despite claims of falling inflation, the reality on the ground tells a different story. People are struggling and relief seems nowhere in sight.
Pakistani citizens are struggling with soaring prices of essential goods as Ramadan begins, turning a month of spiritual reflection into one of economic hardship. From vegetables and oil to fruits, spices, and even clothing, prices have surged sharply since the holy month started, leaving families unable to afford the traditional iftar meals they once enjoyed. Locals expressed deep frustration over rising costs, accusing authorities of failing to curb inflation.
मैं रमज़ान से एक हफ़्ता पहले आया था कि मैं 50% का फ़र्क था, अभी 50% इन्होंने महंगी कर दी हर चीज़, फिर ड्राई फ्रूट हो या फ्रूट हो, अभी मैंने मसाले लिए, मसाले भी बहुत महंगे हैं, हर चीज़ महंगी दी है। बस ऐसे लगा जैसे रमज़ान शुरू हुआ इन्होंने चीज़ें बढ़ा दी। अब गरीब आदमी, मैं मिडिल क्लास आदमी हूँ, मैं भी रो रहा हूँ, तो जो गरीब आदमी वो तो मुझसे ज़्यादा बेचारे, मैं मिडिल क्लास हूँ फिर भी रो रहा हूँ, तो वो ज़्यादा रो रहे होंगे जो मुझसे गरीब, जो लोअर क्लास फैमिली।
कसूर आवाम का है कि आवाम बेचारी बोलती नहीं है, आवाम बोले तो ये हुक्मरान सुने, हुक्मरान तो सो रहा है क्योंकि उनको तो लाखों करोड़ों रुपए तनख्वाहें मिल रही हैं, वो तो आराम से आराम खा रहे हैं, पी रहे हैं, उनको आवाम से क्या गरज है? आवाम मरे, भूखी मरे, सूखी मरे, जैसे मरे, किसी को रोज़ी मिले नहीं मिले, किसी को रोटी मिले नहीं मिले, ये तो इन्हीं को मिलती है। हुक्मरानों के पास है जो कुछ है भाई, हुक्मरानों को तो पैसा मिल जाता है ना बैंकों से, उनका क्या है? आवाम मरती है भूखी परेशान।
Pakistan's inflation, which hit a record 38% in May 2023, has since plummeted to a near-decade low of 1.5% this February, according to official data. Yet, despite the sharp decline, essential goods remain unaffordable for many. The economic crisis stems from years of financial mismanagement and a heavy reliance on foreign aid. The country's economy was stabilized under a $7 billion IMF program last year. But the resulting austerity measures, tax hikes, subsidy cuts, and rising utility prices have deepened economic distress. These so-called reforms have done little to control price gouging in the markets, leaving citizens frustrated and struggling to make ends meet. Many are too fearful to protest, wary of government retaliation during Ramadan.
आवाम इसलिए ये मजबूर हैं, डरते हैं, गवर्नमेंट से पुलिस गिरफ्तार करेगी, कोड़े मारेगी, मारपीट करेगी, इसलिए वो डरते हैं। हकीकत यही है।
क्या चीज़ें महंगी हैं?
महंगाई, तेल, खाने का तेल, दाल, चने, बच्चों के लिए फ्रूट ले लो, फ्रूट नहीं खा सकता है गरीब आदमी, फ्रूट देख सकता है लेकिन खा नहीं सकता है। कपड़ा महंगा, शूज़ महंगे, जितना आज जो रेट है कल दूसरा रेट, अभी 10वें रोजे के बाद और बढ़ाएंगे बाबा।
As the month progresses, the public is calling for greater accountability from both market authorities and the government to ensure that the needs of ordinary citizens are met during this holy period. However, given the state's long history of economic mismanagement and neglect, hopes for immediate relief remain dim.
Tea is an important part of Indian mornings and a big industry that makes India one of the world's top tea producers. Famous for its rich taste, Indian tea from Assam, Darjeeling, Nilgiri and Munnar is loved by people all over the world. Though tea farming in India started later, it has a strong history. The British introduced tea here and it soon became a popular drink across the country. Munnar, with its beautiful tea gardens and 150-year-old tea tradition, is a special place for tea lovers. The Munnar Tea Museum keeps this history alive, attracting visitors and tea fans. What makes mornings better for any Indian? The answer is simple: a steaming cup of tea. This love for tea makes India the largest consumer, with nearly 80% of its production consumed domestically. A deep-rooted tea culture and diverse varieties drive this high demand while the industry continues to expand globally. According to the renowned German institute Statista, India's tea industry revenue is projected to reach $24.65 billion by 2025 with a 4.3% growth rate the following year. Additionally, Customer Market Insight estimates the organic tea market will grow by 10 to 12%, driven by high-quality production and a commitment to excellence.
We produce teas. Thereafter, it goes through a check of quality control, which comes to our office over here. An organoleptic test is done in the tasting room, where every batch gets tasted and tested in our R&D department. Only thereafter it goes for final packing or allocation to our buyers.
Heavy investments in tea processing have boosted India's production and quality, aided by modern techniques and automation. GI tags for Assam, Darjeeling and Nilgiri teas have strengthened their global reputation. Meanwhile, Munnar, a scenic gem in Kerala's Western Ghats, is emerging as a key tea hub. Its renowned tea brands are enjoyed across India and beyond.
And we produce a wide variety of teas, starting from black teas, which include orthodox teas as well as CTC teas, and a wide variety of green teas. We also make specialty teas, white teas, and the whole range, also including flavor teas of different flavors.
Production, productivity and all is very important. Similarly, quality is the thrust which has been given right now. So we come and pluck at a 20 to 22 days plucking interval. That's when the, that also depends upon the age of the field. So for a younger field, we come and pluck on a 15 to 16 day interval. For an older field, we'll pluck at a 22 to 24 max. So that depends upon the age of the field and the growing condition.
Tea plantations boost both the economy and tourism, offering visitors scenic beauty and tranquility. They also support environmental conservation by preserving lush greenery and natural ecosystems. India's tea history may be young, but it is rich. The British introduced tea cultivation, spreading its culture nationwide. Munnar, famed for its breathtaking tea gardens, has a 150-year-old tea legacy. A must-visit, the Munnar Tea Museum showcases this heritage, drawing tourists and tea lovers alike. Nestled in Munnar's tea gardens, the Tea Museum is a must-visit, showcasing Kerala's rich tea heritage. It features vintage tea processing equipment, historical documents, and insights into the industry. Visitors can also witness the entire tea making process, from leaf selection to brewing.
I really love all kinds of tea, and I didn't know a lot about how it's made, where it comes from. So I really enjoyed the demonstrations. Getting to hike through some of the the bushes today or the trees today was awesome.
The Munnar Tea Museum showcases vintage tea processing equipment, tracing the evolution of tea production. It also highlights Munnar's tea heritage and its impact on Kerala's economy and society. Visitors can enjoy freshly brewed teas and a diverse tasting experience, making it a must-visit for tea enthusiasts.
It is good to visit tea museum because it's like people, when they buy tea from the market, they don't know how tea is processed. Once they visit, they can see how tea is processed from the leaf to the dust, and also they can see the histories of it. So it's like a good thing. So they can come over here and see how tea is processed and what we get it from the tea.
The Munnar Tea Museum preserves tea cultural heritage, offering visitors an immersive journey through its history and plantation. A paradise for tea lovers, it's also a must visit for those fascinated by history, culture, and nature. Tea in India is not just a beverage but a legacy that continues to thrive, blending history, culture, and flavor in every sip. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.